G'day, Daniel Watson here from Vertech IT Services. This is Cybersecurity Tip number 95. Right, today I've got a little story. It's going to be a bit longer. This is about how social engineering can be used to defeat two-factor authentication. We had one of our clients who, over this weekend just now, they had two fraudulent transactions on their account. How did this happen? Okay, so they had a telephone call on the weekend from a chap who claimed to be from MasterCard, not from Westpac. He said it was from MasterCard. He just happened to look after the Westpac cards, right? And he said that there had been a potentially fraudulent transaction on their account. He said there was a transaction of $3,796.94 to Mighty Ape. You don't normally shop there, do you? No, that's right. Okay, let's just verify your identity. Can I have your full name and date of birth, please? Yes. The person gave that because he knows that's on the electoral roll. All right. So he challenged him and asked him to verify a few things himself, and carried on. The caller, who was coming in from a private number, so no caller ID, then asked him to send him a code that they are going to text through to him shortly to verify that he is the person that they need to be dealing with regarding this fraudulent transaction. All right, he gets the text and he passes it on. 10 minutes later, whilst they're checking their bank accounts, they got a text on their phone that said, congratulations, you're set up for phone banking. He went, uh-oh, we don't have phone banking, haven't used phone banking, never will. Called up the bank, Westpac, directly and said, hey, I think there's something going on here. Yes, they carried on with that. And whilst they were on the phone to Westpac, handing across this fraud report, they actually saw one transaction going from their credit card into their checking account. And then a few minutes after that, $5,500 got transferred to an external bank account number. All right. So the good news is that transaction got blocked, probably because they were right on the phone with it immediately. But what do you need to know? One, the banks are going to call, and it's not going to be from a private number, okay? They are never going to ask you for a one-time password, because that was the thing. They set this up and they knew it was going to generate a code. And if they already had access into the bank account number from an exposed username and password, and they just needed that code to get the transaction to work, that's it. All right. So that they just needed that way in. All right. So they've set up this whole scenario. The caller had a Kiwi accent. He's somewhere in New Zealand or expat somewhere else. They're never going to ask you a whole stack load of details aside from the ones that you're used to. All right. Here was the extra twist to make it harder for them to react and deal with this in case they twigged on straight after having gave that password. The scammer contacted Vodafone and said, hey, I've lost my phone. Here is my details. Can you get this? Can you block outbound calls, please? And Vodafone did, right? So they were, if they weren't at home and had a landline, then they might not have had another way of calling Westpac to get on the phone and stop that transaction before the far end bank account gets closed out. You've actually got a fairly small window before you can react to this kind of thing. So that's the key point. If you're not sure, hang up, call the bank back directly through the number that you can get off the yellow pages or wherever you find it. All right. This guy with this chap, this businessman who nearly got taken for a serious ride. He's a smart cookie, right? He thought he was doing all the right things. It was only in retrospect that he thought, oh, actually, that's a bit of dodge, right? When in doubt, make the call. Don't deal with the person over the phone. Cheers.